Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over some seriously big updates for both the new car market and the used car market. Before we get into this video though, as always, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below, and then some of the information provided in today's video comes from Cox Automotive. Let's get right into it. Now, we typically start off these episodes by going over the data, and don't worry, we're going to get into the data, but I think that I can pretty much explain most of what's happening by simply reading some of the articles that Cox Automotive has posted over the last week. I think this is hilarious. So, here's the first article title. After 3 months of declines, new vehicle prices reversed course in April, according to the latest Kelley Blue Book estimates. New vehicle affordability declined in April. Used retail vehicle sales decreased in April. Day supply increase month over month, start of May, as more brands see higher inventory levels. Wholesale used vehicle prices increase in first half of May. Used vehicle inventory increases month over month after unremarkable spring balance. I feel like I just cannot make this stuff up. And I mean, if you just go from title to title, basically, new cars increased in price, affordability decreased, so then new car inventory increased, used cars increased in price, so used car inventory increased because affordability decreased. It's pretty straightforward, but I mean, let's dive into the numbers for those of you that want to see some of the numbers. So, new vehicle transaction prices increased to $48,500 per vehicle. So new vehicles are now more expensive. And then if we go into new vehicle affordability, it now takes 37.7 weeks of income for the average American to buy a new vehicle, and payments increased to $762 on new vehicles. And then if we look at used vehicle retail sales in April again is a tax refund month, they declined. They weren't as strong as what they typically are in April. Basically, a 4.8% year over year decline in terms of what we typically see at that time, 1.45 million units. And then if we dive into the day supply situation, well, new vehicles are now up to a 76-day supply. That is 2 more days compared to last month. And again, this is at the same time that these listing prices have increased. Wholesale values with used cars have slightly increased, which will lead to an increase in retail values with used cars. And this is something quickly, anecdotally, that some dealers have mentioned to me over the last week, is they said, for some reason, all of a sudden, everyone is buying cars at auction and they're paying above what they would normally pay on those cars. They don't understand it, but as a dealership, they have to react to these changes. And so some of these dealers are just bidding up the prices on these used cars, even though fewer of them are selling. And used car day supply rose to 46 days. The average listing price increased to $25,500. So again, I just went over the numbers. Now you have those. But the titles, I feel like the titles accurately depict what is currently happening right now. And the used car market is going to do what the used car market's going to do based on supply and demand. And I've talked about how the used car market's in a really weird situation. We don't have the inventory that we normally have. So again, if you look at the new car market over the course of the last few years, it has seen about 15 million vehicles sold per year. That is down from what we saw prior to the pandemic, with the new car market typically seeing 17 to almost 18 million new vehicles sold. So there are millions of vehicles that would have been on the road today that are not on the road. And so those millions of vehicles are not getting traded in. And so that explains a lot of what's happening in the used car market with these values going up. The 3-year lease returns that we normally get, the rental cars that are normally traded in by rental car companies at this point, they don't exist. And because those cars don't exist, then that's going to naturally push up values. Supply and demand, that's what the used car market is all about. The supply, although technically increased month over month, is still low compared to what it normally is, especially within those cars that are 2-3 years old. Those cars are just not getting traded in right now. The new car market, that's where things are just not making sense. It's not adding up. Manufacturers have, across the board, seen this year to be a struggle compared to last year. Last year, pretty much everyone was up in volume. If manufacturers could pump out cars, they were able to sell them for the most part, right? Outside of, some brands. This year, it's been tough for every single manufacturer outside of, Toyota, which Toyota is now starting to have their own little struggles when it comes to selling some of their product. So why would they increase their prices? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't think it makes any logical sense, especially considering what's happening with the market. Again, the Federal Reserve has come out and said that they're not going to do anything with interest rates, or at least it seems like they're not going to do anything with interest rates. So they're still going to stay high, which means new car interest rates on average, they're still going to be around that 10% range. Used cars are going to be over that, 13, 14%. So affordability on the loan side of things is still not there. And so increasing the prices, it doesn't make sense. I could understand if the market was getting to that point where we were seeing, 16, 17 million sales in terms of the pacing number, but this year is pacing to see maybe 15, maybe 15.5 million vehicles sold. It's not a big year for the auto industry. So automakers increasing the prices, I don't know. I don't know why it's happening, and I think that it's pretty clear as to what is going to come out of this. They're not going to sell the cars. The market just cannot support the current pricing, let alone price increases from the automakers. They need to seriously pump up the rebates, but I don't foresee that happening. I think that the automakers have accepted that there's going to be fewer vehicles sold, and so now they're just going into how much money can we squeeze out of the vehicles that we are going to sell, and I think that's probably going to be the status quo for this year on the car market side of things. So with that being said, that's pretty much going to cap things off for today's video. I'll have some more videos hopefully this week. No promises on that, maybe closer to the weekend, diving into some of these individual topics a little bit more. But I wanted today's video just to be a broad overview to show you guys the hilariousness that is the car market right now, where although automakers are selling fewer cars, they think that they still somehow have pricing power, and they just don't. I don't know. I'll see you.